update is actually going to be a promising and at the same time concerning update at the same time. But I want you all to have confidence. Don't be afraid. And Heidi, please, if you're driving, please be careful. Listen, but please be careful. Here, and let me do something. No, I'm not going to read the whole fucking list. No way. There's a lot of things that I would love to do, but reading that whole goddamn list is not going to fucking happen. Not ever in this goddamn lifetime, and not because I said so. Oh, and there's clearly people that agree with that statement. So, yeah, okay, yeah. Thank you, Craig, for dropping the Hump Day post. I appreciate that. So Ann, I'm going to send you a DM. So hold on. Okay. Hi, Anna. Welcome. Looks like you might be. You might be a new person. Forgive me while I'm trying to get my Chromebook in order. And I'm going to have to show that to everybody on the live because that's fucking hysterical. So I want everyone to see that Ann just sent me this photograph. Now, you can't read that backwards, but holy shit. You don't have to explain anything to anybody about anything. There you go. Thank you, Ann. You made my day. I apologize, everyone. I'm just sort of trying to prepare here, so just bear with me. Two-factor. Yes, that's me. We're right at about to start. Does anybody have any questions before we begin the daily update? Yeah, that's right. The first 10 minutes is always the administrative portion. Yeah, skip that too. No, I don't give a shit about any of that. Here we go. Okay. Yay. Well, I feel really positive about that. So. So let me bring up the, yeah, no thanks. I'm already a subscriber to my own Substack. So, gosh, the news from today, holy shit. Um, uh, the news from today and all of its bullshit. So the name of the live is Trumptanic. Um, uh, we all know how this ends. So, of course, um, Donald Trump announced Liberation Day tariffs, high routers. So let's go through that. Oh, you want me to talk about Wisconsin first? Because actually, Amber, I have a bunch of good news. So you have to let me get through the spiel. I will say, yes, the federal court case, the federal court judge election in Wisconsin, that did happen yesterday. The Democrat did win, so now that panel is blue 4-3. And so, what does that mean? Well, here's what that means. That means that Donald Trump literally has no court path that will support him. And nobody talk about Miranda because she's here now, so we can't talk about her. So it was again, the judiciary is starting to sync up into a space that is going to continue to defy Donald Trump. And this is a huge win for us. In addition to that, the Florida Representative Luna tried to push the proxy vote bill from yesterday. We talked about this yesterday. I'm just going to reiterate that. That pattern suggests that the GOP, keys specifically on key specific points, will essentially band together bipartisanly to block the GOP from doing things. So there was a floor rebellion that happened yesterday in the House, which basically shut the House down until next week. So this is all very positive news. Another thing that happened yesterday, Mike Johnson told Donald Trump that he needs to back off of his third term talk because amending the Constitution to allow Donald Trump to have a third term is dead on arrival. It won't get through the House, and it definitely won't get through the Senate. So things are shaping up to have a positive effect on our side of the equation, even if the shit that we were about to talk about is going to fuck the economy and fuck the rest of us up in the process, which it probably is going to. It probably is going to. By the way, I just want to reconfirm. Can everybody hear me okay? Is my voice too loud, or is it, or are we clear? So the tariffs. Here's the deal with the tariffs. So Trump has essentially said that the entire world, every country outside of the United States, will experience a 10% reciprocal tariff. Every country. I can publish all of Donald Trump's propaganda media that lists all of those tariffs, or you can just read the list that I gave. But basically, there's a reciprocal tariff against China, the European Union, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan, and all other 279 countries that are in the world. So, what Donald Trump is basically telling the rest of the world, fuck you, hate us. So, we are officially going to become the most hated country in the world because we literally, right, Turkey and Russia. But here's the thing, Amber, interestingly enough, we're tariffing the Ukraine by 10%. Tariffing the Ukraine by 10%. I want to understand how the fuck or why the fuck that's happening. So, here's the thing about the whole tariff situation. Going into the tariff situation, futures are already down. Uh, Futures are already down by 400 points, and they are continuing to spiral. So going into tomorrow, the Dow Jones, we have to watch the market crucially tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. Metaphor. Liechtenstein, their GPD is like way fucking higher than the U.S. So, yeah, I'm not even kidding either. I completely agree. So we're basically tariffing every country around. So Mexico and Canada dodged the tariff bullet, but they're still getting slammed with 25% tariffs because of the whole fentanyl thing. You can practically smell the burn of money evaporating at the border. The administration is ramming these tariffs down everyone's throats using whatever authority it is that they think that they have. Meanwhile, critics, even Republicans of all fucking people, are sweating bullets, warning that they will feel the crushing weight of inflated prices. Apparently, there is a rumor out of the Senate that tomorrow the Senate is going to try to block Trump's tariffs and stop him from attempting to initiate tariffs against the U.S. or by the U.S. against all of these other countries. So there's already rumors of a congressional movement to stop the tariffs. Yeah, everybody, Elaine's here. Be quiet. Stop talking about her. So we're just going to have to take a deep breath and just look at what happens in the morning. So just wait till the morning before we make a judgment about how it's going to fuck the market. I mean, the futures numbers say it's going to fuck the market. We just have to wake up and see how much. So now I'm going to slightly diverge gently away from the tariffing issue because I personally want to say that I am very sad that I found out this morning that Val Kilmer passed away. I don't know if any of you guys are Val Kilmer fans. I happen to be. I loved the Doors movie. Real Genius was a brilliant film, and I loved it. And I loved Tombstone. That too was a terrific movie. Hi, dear. How are you today?
Tired.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, my woman just entered the room. I have to agree to check on her and make sure that she's okay. Don't listen to me. I'm talking about you.
Okay.
So yeah, Heat, the Michael Mann film Heat. I watched that movie today. In honest memoriam of Val Kilmer. I will probably watch Batman Forever tomorrow, even though I really hate that movie, but it's a guilty pleasure. So let's all have a silent minute for the passing of Val Kilmer, who was a great 80s actor. Yeah, interesting side note, Craig. Michael Mann just finished the screenplay for the sequel, Heat 2, and he's trying to get pre-production started on that film. I understand, I think Adam Driver is the one that's supposed to play Macaulay. I don't know. We're just going to kind of see. But anyway, let's all take a quiet moment for Val Kilmer. Okay. Columbus City Schools. This really pissed me off. It's Astrid. You know what?
Hi.
I was told by somebody I had to give you shit today. I don't know why.
What the fuck did I do?
I don't know. Talk to your pal Elaine. I have no fucking idea.
No, she just told me to get on the chat because I called her back, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll hop on. What I do? I don't know what I did.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Are you a Val Kilmer fan?
No, not really. Although it was kind of like, oh, well, I had a weird childhood. Okay, I
How
didn't
did
get
you
to
have a
see
weird?
movies and stuff. I didn't see. I had
What?
nothing to do with pop culture.
Was that like a you were?
Yeah.
Was that like you weren't allowed?
Yes,
Oh,
I
okay.
was
So you were
raised in
forced to
a.
watch Veggie. You were forced to watch VeggieTales as a kid.
No, I was too old for that. I forced my oldest child to watch VeggieTales.
Oh.
Right? I'm telling
Oh.
you, us Satanists, you would like so, and I'm sure this doesn't surprise you, but so many of us come out of these evangelical backgrounds, and I was raised Pentecostal, so here I am.
Yeah, that's. I look. I totally respect that, but that's extremely painful.
Yeah, so I've
That's
got
extremely painful.
right, and so with Gen X, like anything between like my year of birth and like maybe 1989 is just like this black hole of nothing. I don't know anything that happened.
Oh gosh, I. So one of my chosen children. Um, oh, organization Zoom for the protest this Saturday. Great, Heidi. Please keep that up. Heidi, please update us either in the Wendy the Druid chat or in the comment section of an article because I really want to know how that goes. Thank you for joining, Heidi. So I have a chosen child, and she's trans. She's in her 30s. And so she came from a very apocalyptic, far right wing. Yeah. And so, like, she had to watch, like, on repeat, those horrible Left Behind movies.
That were filmed where I live. One of them, anyway. The very famous one was filmed here. Yes.
As a biblical academic, I have to tell you that I actually forced myself to read those novels just to understand what a fucking train wreck they are. But
Yeah. So a friend of mine who you may have heard of founded the Recovering from Religion Foundation, and it's to address these issues because and help people find therapy that isn't religious based. It's a problem here, and unfortunately, most of them don't accept insurance of any kind. But I mean, the way that I was raised, man, I had a very real fear that I was a bad kid. And when the rapture happened, that Jesus was going to come and take my parents, and I was going to be left behind without my mom and dad, as like a 6-year-old, and like and terrified of demons. So instead of living in fear of them, I befriended them as an adult. But yeah, so
I feel like I should clarify. I have a drastic problem with far right extreme evangelical Christianity. Over the weekend, I don't know, you weren't here for this, I don't think. You weren't here for the last live session. I maybe talked about this. But Jehovah's Witnesses came to my house over the weekend.
I did hear about this.
Okay, right. So
and how you handle that? Yes.
Yeah. So right. So perfect. So yeah, I have a problem with. But here's the thing: there are a large body of moderate Christians who I engage with often. Recently, I have a friend who is he's a Methodist minister. His name's Matthew. I think he's a great guy. So one day I was in the gas station getting something to eat or whatever, and I basically there was a woman standing behind me, and I turned around, and she was wearing a Church of Christ emblem shirt or whatever. And I'm like, oh, you're a Church of Christ member. She's like, oh, do you go to church around here? And like for a half a second, I thought, do I want to answer this question truthfully? I'm not sure. So I'm going to just try it one time. And so I was like, well, if you want to find my church, go out into an open field and stand on it. And that's my church, because that's the mother or whatever. And so she's like, oh, so you're a devil worshiper. And I went, no.
Okay.
No.
Well,
no,
maybe
I'm
that's
not.
why our environment is so jacked up, because if we've got a nation full of people who think that, nature as a church is devil worship, then might as well destroy nature.
Yes, exactly. So I went home that day. This was like a year or so ago. I called him up and I said, Matthew, I ran into one of your people today, and he's like, she asked you where you went to church, didn't she? And I said, yes. And he says, and you told her, right? And I said, yes, because I thought about being tolerant. And she was like, he's like, we are tolerant. And we are kind. There is a large portion of us that are not. You have to quit trusting people like that. Quit it. And so I love Matthew to death, because Matthew is like, he's like the moderate to progressive Christian. I love moderate to progressive Christians. It's the other ones I have a problem with. And so,
I get it.
So and as a call out, I was reminded that even when I was younger, that I attended a fairly progressive church in my pre-queer, pre-trans life, and that is very true. And so, but yeah, extreme evangelical Christianity. I don't.
Yeah, and I, in all fairness, I'm going to say that I think that the area that I live in, probably see more of that type than the more moderate and progressive. I know they exist, but it's in our face all the time. Not necessarily in my town. My town's great, but I'm in a little blue oasis out here. So, I do think that I've got friends who are Christians. And actually, a friend of Elaine and I's, our friends, I should say, lovely Jewish family, they're teaching me a lot about Judaism. And I'm like, this is really cool, at least the way they practice it. So,
Judaic study, outside of the regular update, evening update, if you ever want us to do a live about Judaic tradition, I basically taught myself the Hebrew language for a very specific reason. And so I am not a bad person to converse with about those details. And I've had Jewish people who I have known. My former landlord was a almost Hasidic Jewish person. And I went back and forth with her one day, and she was like, wow, you really know what you're talking about. And yeah, I respect that or whatever. But she's like, but you're not Jewish. And I said, no, I'm a Druid. She said, Wendy, you are the most bizarre, complex, complicated, and yet interesting person I think I have ever known.
That is a tremendous compliment. I think that is the best compliment a person can get. That's amazing.
So, if we ever wanted to do a live about Judaic tradition.
I don't know anything about it, but
that's
not me.
No, metaphor, you're fucking lying now. See, you're going and you're lying about that shit. You can't say that about me. I don't believe that. So anyway, back to the update.
Yeah.
So I'll leave you on for a little bit, or you can drop off whenever you want. But I'm gonna go through the.
Well, I'm gonna drop off. I have tacos to eat.
Okay,
I don't know
yes,
how to make
go,
them.
go. Oh, tacos. That's way
Yeah,
more important than this. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm gonna listen, but you don't want to see me munching down. So
No, no, no. I'm waiting. I don't get dinner until the live's over. So, okay. Plus, I'm going to show a really shocking photo. So, um, who the fuck is William? Okay. How many people want to know who the fuck William is? If I get 2 yeses, I'll show you who William is. But you have to promise not to laugh. Okay. There you go. Everybody see that? There you go. Now you know who William is. Right, exactly. I have no preconceived opinions about showing pre-transition photos of myself. Um, that picture is a picture of me from 33 years ago. So when I was much more angry and much more upset than I am now, and certainly anyway, so Columbus City Schools has gone and done something very concerning, which is why I subtitled Who the Fuck is William? And what Columbus City Schools has done is they have forced their education system to not using preferred names, instead using birth certificate names in their system. That change impacts all trans persons in that school system and all non-binary students who often rely on the crucial aspect of their identity and well-being by their preferred name. That's all out the door. The sudden nature of this change, occurring mid-attendance without prior communication, has created a huge snafu. I went into 2 or 3 different social threads about it, and there are a large number of trans individuals who are emotionally distraught over the fact that um, um, emotionally distraught over the fact that their preferred name is no longer recognized. There are students who are indicating that they're trying to get their parents to move out of that district, which is a complete and total disaster, and it's horrible. So, um, yeah, it's now. Um, as a trans person, I can tell you that when I hear my dead name, which you all now know what my dead name is, um, am I affected by it? No, I have a really thick fucking skin. I don't, you know, if I had enough, if I have enough oomph to tattoo my body, I can take hearing my dead name. It does not bother me near as much as it bothers other people. That said, however, it doesn't mean that I like to hear it, or that. Yeah, Amber, I was just trying to exemplify the fact that the Columbus City school system is going to um, certainly affect the mental health of a variety of its student body, and I think it's wrong. And I think they need to change it, but will they change it? I don't know. Um, I certainly hope so. Um, but this is just more of the torrent of transgender erasure that the administration is forcing on the body populace. And there are entities in that body populace that are effectively supporting that change. And so it's going to hurt people. It's going to hurt people a lot. So yeah, I've got a graph going on, Amber. Futures are, as of right now, the trend suggests that the Dow Jones tomorrow is going to go under between 3 and 5,000 points. So, I mean, we'll see what that happens. But here's the thing about that. Trump, amidst all of the shit that he is doing, has gone to attacking his own party. He's raging at his own party members for daring to question his motives, i.e. his tariffs. He is attacking McConnell, Collins, Murkowski, Rand Paul on True Social. Daily, he's attacking what he deems disloyal Senate and House members, essentially demanding blind loyalty while wrapping his economic warfare in a fake concern about fentanyl. The president is having a full-blown meltdown over Senator Kane's resolution to stop his Canada tariffs. His message, which is basically he is commanding McConnell and the other Senate majority leaders to rout out anyone who suffers from Trump derangement syndrome and being disloyal and primary them so that they will fall in line. And it's pathetically transparent how he's trying to bully senators, even going as far to urge their constituents to harass them into submission. Meanwhile, he's hiding behind the excuse that the resolution won't pass the House anyway, revealing it's all just a loyalty test, and that's why the fuck he's doing it. The Liberation Day tariff rollout isn't about fentanyl or manufacturing. It's about Trump consolidating power and demanding absolute fealty. If you did not read the Remember the 5th of November post from earlier today, we can go over that next if you would like, because that will exemplify all of the fucking power consolidation that Trump is trying to do, because it happened in a fucking movie. We've seen that movie, V for Vendetta. Basically, Trump is Sutler from V for Vendetta. I mean, there's never been a clearer case for that whatsoever, but we can read through that. So the entire spectacle exposes Trump's fragile ego and authoritarian tendencies. He can't even handle minimal resistance by his own party. He, on his economically destructive policy whims, Collins, Paul, Tillis have warned these tariffs will threaten and hurt Americans more than they'll ever help, and Trump doesn't like that, and he's fucking pissed about it. Craig, can you drop the link to the Remember the 5th of November post, please? So those that didn't see it can go and grab it and look at it. We may just go right into that next, because we need to have that talk. Susan Collins. Susan Collins has abandoned all of the things that she says she stands for. She basically has come out and said that Maine's transgender athlete policy is contrary to the spirit of Title IX, Title IX. But it's all about self-preservation in her case. Collins is a Republican in a blue state, and she's touching a hot stove of culture war politics to avoid Trump's wrath. So everything that Collins is doing is predicated on the idea that she's just trying to keep her seat. Yeah, right, Anne. And you're going to know what I am referring to when I say money talks and bullshit walks. and that's what it is with regards to these people. It's just stomach churning. Collins nods approvingly as Trump threatens to withhold federal funding from her own state schools. She is enabling Trump and everything that Trump is doing. At the same time, she says, wait, the transgender athlete thing, it's not in the spirit of the law. She's a two-faced, asswad, butt-licking bitch, in my opinion. And I am so ready for fucking. I'm so ready for fucking Collins to just be primaried out of her state and a true Democrat leader chosen to run that state. So that's pretty much the daily update. Does anybody have any questions? Or we can just go right into talking about how the Trump administration is portrayed in a movie that came out in 2005. Yeah, Craig. I mean, she's beyond her. Here, you know what? Let's do this before we go into before I go into that rouser. I'm going to give. We're going to give a reader an opportunity and see if the reader decides they want to take the opportunity. Okay. I tried to invite Michael into the live. He did not take the bait. So back in 2005, the Wachowskis, who are now the Wachowski sisters, like me, they chose to gender transition. They released a film called V for Vendetta, which was a film adaptation of the more graphic novels of the same name. And so that film just wasn't just entertainment. That film embodies the nature of what happens when an authoritarian and totalitarian government, run by a corporation, by the way, takes over the government and then obliterates all forms of freedom and expression. So, right. Has anybody not seen the movie? Because there's things I'll have to explain if you haven't seen the film. I suspect that there are people who have seen the film, and so I'm going to make assumptions. Okay, well, here is the thing. I would highly recommend you all watch it and go and see it and ignore the fact that you can see things behind me. I have a Diet Coke can behind me. Just completely ignore that. V for Vendetta. So the film, here, I will read you the short description of the what? Okay, got it. Basically, what happens is, Ogun, I think you can stream V for Vendetta on Netflix. If not, you can most certainly stream it on Amazon Prime. Um, but basically, the film is set in a fascist totalitarian Britain in the year 2020, where the government has seized control of the country after a world war. It came out in 2005. And there is a mysterious, enigmatic figure who is the subject of the film named V. And he emerges as a symbol of rebellion that the characters in the movie wrap themselves around. And so V, through acts of terrorism and guerrilla warfare, targets the government's elite and seeks to dismantle the oppressive regime, which ends very dramatically and very emotionally. Um, so there's a scene in the movie where Evie, who is played by Natalie Portman, is walking through London, and there are cameras tracking her every movement. The Chancellor, who is played by John Hurt, his face is seen everywhere. And there is massive surveillance that's going on. I look at it now. America's urban centers bristle with cameras on every corner. Our phones track our locations. Algorithms predict our next purchase even before we know that we want it. There is a constant amount of surveillance that is currently going on. I will not name the company, but my previous company, for which I am no longer working, is a company who manufactures a device that is used for municipal photo tracking. And I had a problem with the business that they engaged in, because the power that they had is very Orwellian in nature. So modern America reeks of surveillance. And it's not just the digital kind that follows your every click and purchase, but the kind that seeps into your bones until you start self-censoring because you realize that people are being aware. The regime in the V for Vendetta movie, called Northfire, maintained power through their surveillance systems. Today, we have voluntarily handed over more surveillance capability to both government and corporations than any fictional fascist that we have ever experienced. Which I should say, people shouldn't fear their government. Governments should fear their people. V echoes these words commonly through the film, with painful relevance as we sleepwalk through society, where the Department of Homeland Security has become normalized as stop signs and facial recognition software and identity verification software have become commonplace. The company that I worked for previously, for which I was fired 3 weeks ago, is a company that engages in a service and a device that tracks automotive identification. Your license plate, your car, your make, your model, how much damage is done to the car, all of it. And I regret working there for a variety of reasons, but yeah, so we've given over more surveillance and taken away more of our right to privacy and given it to other entities than there has ever been in the U.S. So, yeah, Craig, it's That's why I'm trying to be a journalist for all of you guys, because I really just want to be a journalist, and I want to sit here and write my books and support myself with my books. That's Yeah. Anyway, that's another story. I'm not going to pull on heartstrings for that tonight. I'm really not. So, media manipulation. So, the voice of London in the film constantly spews um, propaganda all throughout. Turn on any mainstream media channel and watch talking heads twist reality into pretzels that serve their corporate masters. Um, the media landscape has fractured into echo chambers where facts have become optional garnishes rather than the main course. Um, and so, this is a thing. I, if I write something and you guys find out that what I've written is wrong, I expect you all to hold me accountable. And if you quibble about something that I've written, I literally will fix it, because I'm beholden to all of you. The thing that doesn't happen with CNN and Fox News and the other American um, mainstream media outlets is One America News Network and Newsmax and all of those things. Um, they can say whatever the fuck they want, and if you tell them that it's wrong, good luck. If you tell me that I've done something wrong, I don't care if I end up with 100,000 of all you guys following me. If you resoundingly tell me that I fucked up, I want to be accountable. I want to be aware, and I want to be truthful. So when you read the stuff that I write, if you find a problem with it, please tell me. Tell me that it's wrong. And show me so that I can fix it. Because the best way to combat misinformation is to provide proper information. And I want to continue to do that. So, so in the film, the voice of London, who is called Prothero, by the way, constantly repeats England prevails. It bears an uncomfortable resemblance to certain political slogans that we've seen recently, like "Make America Great Again." When Donald McStinkface promised to make America great again, he wasn't just selling hats. He was selling a narrative of decline that only he can reverse. Just as Sutler in the film V for Vendetta promised salvation from chaos that his own party engineered. And that's going to sort of give away aspects of the film, but you sort of need to understand that. Media consolidation has left us with 6 corporations that control 90% of what Americans see. 6 fucking corporations decides what counts for the news. Am I a corporation? No, I'm an LLC. And I'm an LLC who is way more fucking accountable than ever any major news media outlet will be. So if you find me fucking up, you need to tell me I'm fucking up so that I can fix it. 100%. Wait, did Astrid say something? I need to go and look. Yes, exactly. Astrid, thank you. I appreciate that. So the film, V for Vendetta, shows the regime controlling the narrative through state TV. We've created something potentially worse, a system where people voluntarily choose their own propaganda, creating tribal realities that no longer intersect with each other, and the scent of objective truth has been overwhelmed by the stench of alternative facts and my own research and what people deem fake news. So the manufactured crisis, the core issue in the V for Vendetta film is it turns out that there is a revelation that there was a catastrophe that the corporation who would become the government causes. And that caused panic, and then they presented themselves as the solution to the problem, even though they created it and people weren't aware of it. So they manufactured fear and then harvested the political power from it. After 9/11, America has lived in a perpetual state of emergency, allowing for continuous expansion of executive power and erosion of civil liberty. The Patriot Act was our own enabling act, passed while the rubble was still smoking at the 9/11 site. The bitter irony of sacrificing liberty in the name of security tastes like hot ash on the fucking tongue. Elon Shrimp Dick tweeted in 2023, civil liberties are being eroded by both government and corporations working in tandem. The slope isn't just slippery, we're tobogganing down at full speed. Here's the problem. That's a tiny dick billionaire who wasn't wrong when he said that, but he's feeding directly into that system and he's encouraging it. How many times politicians have used fear to push through legislation that would otherwise have been unacceptable? Terror threats that mysteriously escalate before budget votes, border invasions that intensify before elections. The pattern repeats itself over and over and over and over again, and they constantly feed into it because it gives them power. In the film, the crisis that's manufactured creates conditions for a fascist takeover. In our reality, crisis after crisis after crisis after crisis continues to happen, increasing the authoritarian measure of necessary evils. We're doing this because we have to. We can feel the rough edges of our eroded rights scraping against our own skin, but we become accustomed to the pain, so we barely notice anymore. So, another aspect of the Vendetta film involves secret police who operate with impunity, detaining citizens without due process. We've seen that. There's a scene in the film that hits differently when you remember that America still operates Guantanamo Bay, the El Salvador prison, where detainees have been held without trial for a long time, even. The sound of cell doors closing on protesters arrested during demonstration echoes the fictional Britain's detention centers that you see in the film. In 2020 alone, 14,000 people were arrested during protests across America. We're at 2025. It's gotten worse. The government literally deported a person who entered this country legally, did everything that he was supposed to do, filed for his green card, has a 5-year-old disabled kid who is a naturalized citizen because he was born here, and did everything that he was supposed to do. Agrigo Garcia did everything he was supposed to do, followed the entire process, step by step by step by step. And what happened to him? He was deported and sent to El Salvador. And the administration is like, oh, that was an administrative fuck up. That was our screw up. Well, are you going to bring him back? No. If one person has been deported through an administrative screw up, it stands to reason that more people are going to be deported as an administrative screw up or has already. And that is an egregious, constitutionally criminal act. So, yes, Garcia needs to be brought back from El Salvador, but as far as I can tell, there is no effort to bring Garcia back into the country. And all this really says is that Trump could deport whoever the fuck that he wants to if the tattoos look right or he thinks that they are a leader of a gang. Bar none. So the film depicts a society where, that's the other thing. So if you watch V for Vendetta, the film depicts a society where being gay, Muslim, or politically opposed to the regime, or anti-Christian, or anti-white, leads to a black bag getting shoved over your head and you disappear. And you don't come back. While America hasn't reached those extremes, the steady criminalization of protest, the targeting of environmental activists as domestic terrorists, and the increasing use of surveillance against political dissidents all point to a disturbingly similar reaction that we are seeing. Words offer the means to meaning. Now, I'm going to read you a quote from the movie because I think those words are powerful. And that is, words offer means to meaning. And for those who will listen, the enunciation of truth. Because while the Trotian may be used in lieu of conversation, words will always retain their power. Words offer the means to meaning. And for those who will listen, that enunciation of truth. And the truth is that right now, where we are in the U.S., that there is something terribly wrong with this country, and we have to do something about it. In America, we've given the arrangement of corporate America and government America to allow to bastardize themselves into a child. The taste of corporate influence has become common, so common that we barely even notice it. It's a bland, processed flavor that masks the rot beneath it. Corporate money flows through our political system like blood through veins, oxygenating campaigns and suffocating genuine representation. We saw that yesterday. Musk offering to pay people millions of dollars if they would vote for a Republican candidate for a judge on a Supreme Court panel. And it failed. It failed. We literally watched an entire group of people say, fuck this, and it didn't happen. Sheldon Whitehouse noted in his book, The Scheme, which, by the way, is a really, really good book. You should read it. Has stated that corporations have captured our courts, our Congress, and increasingly our executive branch, creating a government that serves the interests of those corporations rather than the people's. This corporate capture does not require stormtroopers or dramatic coups, just the steady accumulation of influence through lobbying, campaign finance, and regulatory capture. And that's how the fuck they kill it. So if there's any hope in the parallels between the Vendetta film and our current reality, it lies within the film's conclusion. The moment when thousands of people march on the Capitol. V understood in the film that those symbols have power and that those ideas are bulletproof and that the real change requires collective action. That's how we survive, is through collective action. The feeling of standing shoulder to shoulder with others who share your rage, your vision, creates a warmth that can melt the coldest systems of oppression. I believe that now, as we are sitting on this live and I am talking to all of you, I feel that all of you are literally standing next to me, shoulder to shoulder to shoulder, as we resist in this aspect of tyranny. So there's a moment, I'm just going to spoil it, where towards the end of the film, they blow up the Parliament building in V for Vendetta. It's a cathartic but ultimately symbolic act of destruction. The harder work of building something better remains implied rather than it being shown. That's where our reality diverges most significantly from fiction. We don't need symbolic explosions. We need a sustained strategic resistance followed by the unglamorous work of creating better systems. That's just how it works. So it's just America has its own dates worth remembering. In the film, V very commonly references the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Commemorates a failed revolution. Guy Fawkes attempts to blow up Parliament in 1605. Admittedly, the V character in the V for Vendetta film walks around in a Guy Fawkes mask. My Guy Fawkes mask is somewhere in this room. I think it's in a box. I will happily get the Guy Fawkes mask out with my black cloak if you want to see me dress up like V from V for Vendetta. Because as a gray hat network and information security engineer, I wasn't always a law-abiding IT professional. I fractured an occasional law in my youth. Anyway, so right. So America has its own dates worth remembering, moments when power was challenged, when people pushed back against overreach. From the Boston Tea Party to Stonewall riots, from Selma to Standing Rock, our history is punctuated by acts of resistance that shape our reality and our national identity far more truthfully than the sanitized patriotism that's pushed in textbooks. The smell of tear gas has become as American as apple pie. The sound of protest chants echoes through our cities with increasing regularity. The sight of militarized police facing off against unarmed citizens has become so common that we scroll past it in our own media. These sensory experiences, the burning eyes, the hoarse throats, the bruised bodies, are all a reality of resistance in modern America. The path from our current reality to something better won't be found through a single symbolic act, but through sustained pressure on multiple fronts. I have said this in every live session that I have done. None of us can do this without you. I can't do it without you. You can't do it without me. We have to stay together and we have to stay strong. And that's how we beat it. And so the film itself ends with hope, a society awakened, ready to rebuild after rejecting the fascism that was controlling it. The most frightening parallel of the Vendetta film isn't the specific policies or the technologies depicted in the film, but in the gradual normalization of unacceptable. In the Vendetta film, citizens don't wake up one morning under fascism. They sleepwalked right into it, trading liberty for security, truth for comfort, complexity for simplicity. The sensational freedom slipping through your fingers feels like you're trying to hold on to water. It's abundant until suddenly your hands are empty and dry. We feel it in the algorithms that narrow our worldview, in the cameras that track our movements, in the data that's harvested from our most private moments. We sense it in the increasing alignment between corporate power and government authority, in the criminalization of dissent and the manipulation of fear for political gain. But unlike the fictional citizens in the Vendetta film, we have an advantage. We've been warned, not just by the film, but by history itself, by the recurring patterns of how liberty dies and authoritarianism takes root. The question isn't whether we've been warned, but whether we're listening and whether we're willing to do what is necessary to do it. And even though I'm a trans woman, I have to say, prithee peace, I dare do all that become a man who dares more is none. Because who doesn't love Macbeth? I can't imagine a person. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I feel a little deflated. And I apologize, it's dark in here. Of course, it is almost 8 o'clock, but. Yes, Elaine, yes, I agree completely. Elaine, I'm not going to bother you today. I'm going to leave you alone. It's this was a nice and quiet live, but we're right down to the 10-minute mark. So if people have questions, suggestions, thoughts, please express them. Just ignore my Diet Coke can. Peaceful Warrior, if there is a protest, oh, holy shit. Oh, holy shit. So as of 1946 p.m., futures are down 1,176 points. And they are continuing to plummet. Tomorrow is not going to be fun for the market. Militech? That's possible. I don't want to believe that, but yes, it's possible. I hope it's unlikely, but it's possible. Well, here's the thing, and I will tell everybody, if you're out there, let me know when you're out there. I will start a live, and then I will invite you into the live, and you can broadcast what you are seeing while I'm holding the live up. Anyone who's going, you let me know when you're there. I will start a live, and we can report in real time. So please promise me you'll do that. Well, Elaine and Craig, like everyone, literally, I shit you not. Please update me. I literally will run a live session here at the house to support you guys in real time. I mean, I don't know. I'd be happy to go to jail as long as they stuck me in a women's prison. You know, the likelihood of that is unlikely, though, right? Yeah, and I have an internal amount of respect for you, Amber. I really do. So that's the plan. So whatever happens on Saturday, You let me know when it's happening, and I will stand up alive so that we can do it in real time. Because our readers need to know that we're out there fighting the good fight. So with that, I will leave everybody for tonight. I am thankful for all of you. I will tell you, as I say at the end of every live session, please stay strong. Please stay rigid and firm. I can't do this without you guys, and I don't want you guys to do it without me. So if you're in a safe space, stay in your safe space and do what you can. If you're not in a safe space, try to get to a safe space. Just remember that we're all here in this together. I love you all, and please be strong.